I needed to mount some solar panels. I came up with a simple ground mount system that almost anyone can build with materials from the local hardware store for a fraction of the cost of a commercial solar rack. Today I'm going to show you how I build a simple solar panel mount using T-posts, a couple 2x4s, and a handful of brackets. So for our supplies, we have 4 T-posts. I picked those up at Home Depot. And then I have 2 2x4x8s. And with those 2x4s, I took them and put them on the table saw and ripped a 30-degree angle on each edge so that we can get the angle that we want for our solar panels. And then we have our T-post brackets. These T-post brackets can be picked up on Amazon, and I'll leave links to these down in the description below. They're also readily available on the shelf from Tractor Supply. And then we have the brackets that are going to hold the solar panels on. These are Z brackets made by Renogy. I'll leave links to these in the description below as well. Of course, we have our screws to put it all together. And then lastly, we have our solar panels. I have 4 100-watt panels that we're going to be mounting to this ground mount system. I started by test fitting the brackets so I knew what direction to pound the T-posts in. Then I began laying out the rack and driving in the T-posts. Using a level, I made sure I was driving in the T-post straight. I spent a little extra time making sure everything was square and level because that makes the rest of the build go much smoother. Then I anchored the T-post brackets to the 2x4s using wood screws. I then slipped the brackets over the T-posts and hung the first 2x4. My post spacing was right on the money, but I had to do a little bit of adjusting to get it perfectly level. I used a small sledgehammer and a level to get everything where I wanted it to be. The trickiest part of the whole build was figuring out where to pound in the front 2 T-posts. I used a 2x4, set it on the angle that the panels would be on, and figured out my panel length so I knew where to place the T-post. That was one of those moments when I wish I would have paid better attention in geometry class. I then adjusted the front 2x4 to level and the exact height I needed for the solar panels. Here's a close-up view of how the brackets fit on the T-posts, and you can see the 30-degree angle in the 2x4 where the solar panels are going to mount. I'm all about making things look good, so before I mounted the solar panels, I took a few minutes and gave it a quick coat of paint. With the frame complete, next came the moment of truth. It was time to mount the panels and see if it all came together. I used a square to mount the first panel so that I could make sure all the panels fell into line after that. This is where the project starts looking like an actual solar panel mount.
Here's the finished setup. One thing I really like about it is how everything's easy to access. With it being right here at ground level, I can clean everything, I can troubleshoot any wiring, make any adjustments that I need to, and it's all right here at ground level. Could you build something fancier? Absolutely. But for a temporary installation or even a permanent off-grid installation, this gets the job done without spending a lot of money. Sometimes the best solution isn't the most complicated one, it's the one that works. If you want to follow along with the rest of the project, make sure you're subscribed. We're going to be connecting these solar panels to a Renogy solar power setup so that we can have power out here at the barn. Thank you for watching today, and we'll catch you on the next one.